Hello and welcome to the podcast all about becoming a health coach. I'm Megan McCrory, a certified international nutrition health coach. I trained at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, otherwise referred to lovingly as IIN, and I received my international certification from the International Association of Health Coaches. Each week I recap what I learned at IIN and how I'm applying those lessons to my life. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm happy that you found the podcast and a very special welcome to you. You may want to go back and listen from the beginning to hear more about my health coaching journey. So I do have to preface this episode with saying that I am not recording in my usual space, but in a hotel room in beautiful Corsica, an island in the Mediterranean, and I'm on vacation. And I'm recording this because I really wanted to get this out to you guys before I get all caught up with the summer months. And also I need to tell you that this episode number 22, is a break from my normal episode format. So just before I went on vacation, I had the opportunity to present as a health coach at a corporate well-being event. So this was my first opportunity to present as a health coach. I was super nervous and excited about that. And I actually recorded the whole thing, and I thought this might be interesting for you to hear as an example of how to talk about health coaching at an event like this in the future, or something that you could talk to, just normal people about if you're having a conversation, you're trying to explain like how a health coach works, which sometimes is difficult, right? So the event format, there was 5 different topics and there was 30 different people there presenting with a range of different things from energy healers to traditional Chinese medicine, kinesiology, other nutrition and wellness experts there. And each person was supposed to present on a different topic and how that topic they could manage or support that with their specific modality. So my topic, or the topic that I had to present to, was called Regaining Control of Life. So therefore, this presentation is just a taster of how, as a health coach, I can support someone in regaining control of life. Another quick note, just before I play the presentation, I do have a new Facebook page where I announce the new episodes and provide more information on how to become a health coach, and I would really love to see you there. That would be fantastic if you could drop in there, just say hi, or just like the page, just so I know you guys are out there. I can see the numbers, so I know people are listening, and I think this is fantastic. Again, I wish I was able to get my act together to record more religiously, but that's not, life just gets in the way. Anyway, I would love to see you there. Just search in Facebook, Becoming a Health Coach podcast, and you'll find me there with my picture. So without further delay, here is the presentation. Good morning. How many is this your first session? No? Okay. Are you a serial sessions? This is your third one, right? All morning. Yeah. So my name is Megan McCrory. I'm a certified international nutrition health coach, and I'm here to tell you, get it working. Yeah. I'm here to talk to you today about regaining control of life and how you might do that through health coaching. So that's kind of the themes today, is a topic and how you can do it through different kinds of methods. So if this is your first one, thank you for making me your first one. I appreciate that. So there's a lot of different things to talk about when it comes to health coaching and nutrition and whatnot. And I have literally like 20 minutes with you, so I thought maybe I could just pick one. And for me, the concept that I think brings about the most dramatic changes is the concept of reflection. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And the act of reflecting specifically on your behavior and on your daily life will allow you to see where you're at and regain control of that time and get you into a more balanced state. So let's first talk about time, because we're here with the topic regaining control of life. How many of you feel, with a raise of hands, that you don't have enough time to do what you want to do? Yeah. And so the next question is, how many of you this morning have already said the phrase, I don't have time? At least 3, 4, I don't have time. So this is typically a common thing we say, and everybody feels like they don't have enough time. So for me, I like to think of time as a very elastic thing. I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you're doing different things, time feels differently, right? So you're doing your routine, whether it's a daily routine, a weekly routine, a monthly routine, and you're in this routine and you feel like you don't remember what you did yesterday because it's the same as what you did 2 days ago and it's the same as what you did 3 days ago. And so these days kind of run together and you kind of sense of losing time. On the other hand, if you're learning something new, you're doing something exciting, you're on vacation, you're eating something fresh that you've never tasted before, all of those things bring you more into this present moment, and you feel somehow that meal was like 3 hours long because you've tasted all this wonderful things you've never tasted before. So time, how you feel about time really depends on what you're doing. So one of the things that kind of buzzwords now is mindfulness, and I'm not sure if anybody heard mindfulness, this term. So this is basically just being conscious of what you're doing, actually when you're doing it. Not listening to the news, not watching television, not listening to a podcast or music, but really like in the present moment. And that's those experiences that we get on vacation is because we're actually really there. We're really present in that moment, and that's what mindfulness is. I'm not going to talk about mindfulness. There's tons of other people here that will talk about mindfulness. But I just wanted to bring around the concept that when you're conscious of what you're doing, time feels bigger, fuller, and more alive. Okay, so one of the things that I want to do today, so my goal in this very, very short period of time, is to help you, hi, welcome. My goal for you today is that you'll walk out of here, or sit if you're going to the next one, finding an area of your life which you want to regain more control, put more energy and more balance into, okay? So how are we going to do that? So the first thing I need to talk to you about, I have two exercises. I really hope I can get through everything, but I think I'm doing well. Am I talking too fast?
No, it's great.
Okay. So I have 2 exercises. The first exercise that we're going to do, I need to explain a concept that I learned at the health coaching school that I went to, which is called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And this is the concept of primary and secondary foods. So, yeah, she gave me this look like, what the hell, what's primary and secondary foods? So secondary foods are basically everything that you eat and consume that you would normally think of as food, like food, your breakfast, your coffee, cigarettes, your alcohol, whatever you're putting in your body, right? This is all food. Food is really important, obviously. We all need food to survive. Food can be good for you, food can be bad for you. It's a big topic in its own. But a lot of people think health really relates only around food or what you're eating or maybe how physically fit you are. The thing is that there's a lot more to your health than just the food that you eat. How many of you have heard work-life balance? Yeah. So that's we're getting there. We're getting there with work-life balance because the idea is that we need to balance all these areas in our life to be truly healthy overall, not just from a nutritional point of view. So for example, the primary food, the 4 kind of categories that they talk about are like your relationships, your career, your physical activity, and also spirituality, okay? So the idea is that we need to balance all of these things, plus your secondary food, what you're actually eating, and to be a truly balanced and healthy, lifestyle. So when we reflect on all of these different areas, then we can kind of see where the imbalance is. So this is the exercise. Can I have someone help me pass out? Thank you. Or you can, if you don't have a pen, let me know. Does anybody need a pen? Okay. Here you go. Okay, so this exercise is called the Circle of Life. You guys might have seen this before. If you've ever done any kind of coaching, you might have seen something like this before. It's very similar. This is kind of the easiest, quickest, most simple way to get an understanding of the different areas in your life and how balanced they are. So all you need to do is ask yourself the question. Look at, there's 12 different areas in life. The pens are still going around? I don't have any. Oh, they're over there. That's okay. You need them in just a second. I don't have any more. Sorry. Maybe you guys can share. You only need them to write a few little dots. It's okay. So you just ask yourself, how satisfied am I in the area of social life, for example? If you're satisfied with your social life, you want to put your dot near the outside edge of the circle. If you're not satisfied with your social life, you want to put the dot towards the center of your circle. You'll see there's a little diagram at the bottom that kind of gives you an example. Now, it's very important that you're using your own scale of satisfaction, okay? So I had a client one time that she put social life, that she was unsatisfied with social life. And we talked about it, and I find out that her colleagues at work kept asking her to go out after work, and she kept saying no. So she got the impression that she should have a better social life, but she was an introvert. She didn't want to go out at night. She really enjoyed going home and spending time with her cats and her husband. And so after we talked about it, she's like, oh, no, I'm happy with that. So I'm like, so don't let the societal norms of what you should be satisfied with dictate what you put on there. So go ahead and just take a couple seconds. Does everybody have a pen? Or can you share? I have one more. I have one more. Very good question. So if home cooking means nothing to you, then you can be very satisfied with not cooking at home. You see? Yeah. So not all of these areas fit for every person. The ideal thing would be to create your own circle of life with areas that are important to you, but this is a quick and dirty, if you will. So if you're happy eating out all the time, you can put that dot near the edge. All right, everybody's got their circles? Yeah? Everybody's got their circles? Okay. So do you see any imbalances in your circle? Who has a perfect circle? No? Okay. This is typical. At least there's usually one area in your circle that's got like a cavern, right? Like it's non-existent. So you when I'm working with my clients, we typically pick one area. So look at your sheet and pick one area that you think you want to focus on, bring more energy and more balance to. And just keep it in your mind. I don't need to know. This is all for you. It's in your head. Okay? All right, so how do we fit it in your schedule? The schedule that nobody has time for, right? Obviously, there's a reason there's a big divot in your circle of life in that area. So the next exercise we're going to do, we're actually not going to be able to do it in here because we don't have time. This is a time makeover exercise. So this is a sheet that I will hand out in a second. We don't need to waste time handing it out. You can pick it up on your way out. The time makeover is an exercise by a speaker named Laura Vanderkam. How many people have heard of Laura Vanderkam? No? Okay. So if you want a digital version, it's basically a spreadsheet. If you want a digital version, you can give me your email address, or you can Google her, Laura Vanderkam. Her email's or her website's down here. She does a great TED Talk on time. Highly recommend that you check out her TED Talk. I stole this from her, so I won't claim it's my own. Okay, so the time makeover is now, we have the area of life where you think you want to apply some more energy to. So now we need to figure out where in your busy schedule are we going to apply that energy. So the time makeover is basically a baseline of your current schedule. And maybe you've done this before, maybe not. So it's very simple. You take this piece of paper. I have a pencil. I fold it up. I put it in my pocket. Every hour or so, I put down what I've just done for the last hour, half an hour, 15-minute increments, however detailed you want to get with this. You do this for a whole week. So weekends plus your weekdays. Okay, it's very simple. It's not hard. At the end of the week, then you start to bucket your items here. So your buckets will be different than my buckets, but some general ones are family time, work, sleep, chores, shopping. Think of these kind of bucket things. We're all in industry. You know how to bucket things, right? Okay, take some highlighters, highlight this bad boy, and you'll start to see where your chunks of time are going to be set out, okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, when you know what you're doing with your time, then you can see where you have best use, where you're not using your time best and where you're using your time best. And in order to put those two exercises together to move you forward, I need to explain kind of an example of one of my clients. So I had a client, and when she did her circle of life, she noticed that in the area of creativity, it was bad, and she wanted to work on creativity. Whatever creativity means for you, it can mean a lot of different things. And she did the time management exercise, and when she looked at that, she said, crap, I'm spending like 3-4 hours a night doing work emails and watching TV with my husband, okay? And she's like, maybe there's some room for improvement there, but she was able to identify that by reflecting on her current schedule, right? And then she said, well, I don't really want to give up TV. Not many people want to give up TV altogether. There are the few rare ones. And she also didn't want to not spend time with her husband. Like TV time, relaxing in the evening, that was part of their routine. But what she decided to do was one evening a week after dinner, husband cleaned up, and she was able to she went into her sewing room, she was sewing, making soap. You know, if you make music, you could make music. And the idea was just one evening a week, just dedicated to that, allowed her that time, a couple hours, to feel more creative and get that out of her, to build that in her system. She didn't have to give up her TV. She didn't have to change her schedule radically. And it's very simple. I mean, she identified where she had the time, and she identified what she wanted to now do with the time. Now, this is a very simple example. The problem is that everybody is different, right? What you want to do and how you want to do it is different than somebody else's. And that's why these activities are very, very individual, okay? So that's exactly how you would put it together. And the problem is I don't have that time or luxury of time right now to do that with you. So what I'd like to offer you is, if you want, everybody here can have a 1-hour free coaching session with me where we go over your circle of life, we go over your time management sheet, and it's not a 1-hour sales pitch. It's a 1-hour coaching session where we work together to come up with actionable items to get you closer to balancing that area of your life that you want to apply more energy and get balanced. So that's what I'm offering for you today. So you're free to hit me up over here. You guys know we're in there in the auditorium, right? Okay. So, but you might want to know a little bit more about health coaching. So I have a little bit of time to tell you what a health coach does and how we kind of work. So I'll start off by telling you what I don't do. So I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm not going to be diagnosing anything. Now, in health coaching school and a lot of training I've done, we do learn a lot about symptoms and see, symptoms in people, but I'm certainly not going to say, yeah, it looks like you have PCOS or it looks like you have type 2 diabetes. I'm not going to do this because that's not my job. That's a medical doctor's profession, okay? I would refer you out to a doctor if I see something that looks like you might need to see a doctor. I'm also not a registered dietitian or nutritionist, so I'm not going to be prescribing a specific diet, okay? That's not in my scope of practice. I used to be a lacrosse coach. Maybe you can tell with my forward projection that I used to yell at young ladies to run around, and I'm also not going to be yelling at you to do push-ups or running. So what I do as a health coach is I help you reach your health-related goals. And that health is a broad category, as I explained earlier. So health can be that you don't sleep very well. Health can be that you get headaches a lot. Or health can just be that you feel stressed out. Not always related around weight and food, okay? So that's what I don't do and what I do. And when we have a coaching relationship, I bring a couple different things to that coaching relationship. One is space and time. My individual coaching is typically a 6-month session, 6-month program, and we meet twice a month, which means for 2 hours every month, you don't have to think about anybody else except for yourself. Does that sound nice? How many of you have kids? You're all working, obviously. So having literally just 2 hours a month can make an incredible difference in just sitting down and listening to yourself. And my job is to give you that space and ask you the right questions to help you think through what you need to think through and come up with where we want to go. The other thing that I provide is accountability. Now, how many of you have ever had like a personal goal? Just in general, resolution, personal goal, right? And you might have reached this goal, but maybe there's another goal that you didn't reach. And even though we're all very intelligent and we know what we need to do to get there, somehow it doesn't happen necessarily. And a health coach, or really any coach should matter, is a really good accountability partner. Every 2 weeks, you're going to meet up with me, and I'm going to ask you, how did the last 2 weeks go? Did you do what you said you were going to do? And then you can say, no. And then we say, why not? And then the conversation goes from there. Things will work and things won't work. And this is part of the relationship. We'll try something out, and if it didn't work in your schedule, it didn't work in your life, that's fine. We try another thing. The key is when you have an accountability partner is that I don't let you give up on yourself. I don't let you say, no, I'm going to stop, because that's not going to help you, right? And the last thing I bring to the relationship is knowledge and tools. So the knowledge I have as a health coach and the tools that I've gained through health coaching and my own private training and so on. So I've got some gut health training. I'm doing a hormone health course training right now. And those types of things I can bring to the table. Knowledge of behavior management, helping you change your behaviors in a way that are sustainable. Knowledge of nutrition and how the body works, okay? So those are the things that I bring to the coaching relationship. I mentioned before I have the private coaching, but I also have group coaching. So if private coaching is not for you, maybe it's too intense, you can do a group coaching. You can get your own group together, or you can join another group. This is usually a shorter 8 weeks where we meet 4 times. And group programs are great because you get the support of a bunch of other people. You also get to hear other people's struggles, and maybe you struggled with that and you can provide a little bit more guidance. And it's just a really nice dynamic, especially in a world where we're all very isolated and on our phones. It's just nice to have some human interaction together and be together in a space. And with that, I'm so good on time. Now I can breathe. Now I can say thank you for spending 23 minutes with me because I know your time is precious. And I have a few minutes for you guys if you have any questions. So, what did you guys think? And it's pretty raw. I didn't edit or cut anything except for some dead time where I was waiting for people to finish the activities. But I'm curious to hear you guys' feedback. I got feedback already from the presentation, from the people there. They really liked the format. But I'm curious from your perspective as a person who wants to be a health coach, if that type of thing helped you understand how I explain health coaching better, if those kind of things. So you could see that I was using different tools that are not my own. I didn't create either one of those tools, but I was able to tie the tools together in a presentation in a way that was able to, in 20 minutes, explain how a health coach can use different tools to help someone accomplish the goals. And I also wanted to get across in the presentation, as you were well aware of, the idea of primary and secondary food to get out of the rut of people thinking that you only go to a health coach because you might want to gain or lose weight. Because I think that's a lot of times people think health coaching is just about weight management in general. But I wanted to emphasize that health or health coaching in general is an overall well-being. So those were the key points that I wanted to get across in the presentation, and I hope that came across as well to you. So again, go ahead and you can drop me an email at becomingahealthcoach@gmail.com. My website is mybestself.fit, which is where you will find all of the show notes for today, transcript of the presentation, etc. And any other links to things that I have there. And I really thank you for spending time with me today. I know the podcasting field is getting quite saturated, so I appreciate you spending the few minutes with me every time I present an episode. And I try to make that content rich and enlightening for you. So if you could send me some feedback on things that I can do better for you, or things that I could explain more, or things like that, I'd be really, really happy to answer you directly how and via the podcast, those things. So as always, I'm so happy that you were listening to how I'm becoming a health coach. So till next time, stay happy and healthy, and au revoir from France.
Hey, you're still listening. Great. Okay, now I can tell you about my 12-week goal setting session. So in this 1-hour session, I'm going to help guide you through a powerful process inspired by the best-selling book, The 12-Week Year. I know. Everybody at this time of the year starts to think about year-long goals. And I would argue that year-long goals are really hard to contextualize. What is going to be happening in a year from now? You have no idea. But 12 weeks gives you a little bit better understanding, because you kind of already have your calendar booked out for the next 12 weeks, kind of know what's going to be going on. So if you can focus your goals on the next 12 weeks, you can make some really big actionable steps towards your long-term vision. So in this 1-hour session, we do talk about long-term vision. We talk about where you want to be. We talk about what your 5-year, 10-year, 3-year, all those goals are. But that's only a brief part. We know, we see the long distance view, but let's break that down. And then we get into the 1 to 3 strategic 12-week goals that are going to get you to those long-term vision. Then we're going to put that into a really cool action plan with like checklists and timing and all that jazz to make sure that you are clear and that you have accountability to get those goals done. And then that's not it. Then we are going to tackle your roadblocks, because you know you have roadblocks. So we're going to tackle those roadblocks. We're going to create a plan to overcome them. So you know when you start to self-sabotage, you know what you can do to get around those roadblocks. Okay, so if this is interesting for you, it is only 1 hour of your time and it's only 45 Swiss francs. I host this gig over on Fiverr, but I'm also going to put a link down in the show notes. So if you're interested, hit me up.